to a solo episode with me, Tiffany Hinton, and today we're talking about planning the garden out by the moon cycles. So grab your calendars on Cultivating Guts. Hello, it's Tiffany, and welcome back to Cultivating Guts, a podcast where we discuss gardening, homesteading, gut health, and following our intuition. I'm excited to be back with you guys. I've had a lot of fun over the last few weeks, and we have some important topics we need to be discussing coming up. So I wanted to share with you on the podcast today, laying out the next 6 months based on moon cycles, when to plant, when to not plant, when to kind of prep your garden and kind of, so you can get it all calendarized. Yes, I am a Capricorn sun and a Virgo moon. And so organization and planning is right up my alley. So I'm hoping to help you with that today on the podcast. We are video recording as well. So hello, if you want to catch us on YouTube, you can find us at youtube.com/Tiffany Hinton and tune in there and catch the video. And all of our past episodes and even episodes from season 1 are over on the YouTube channel. So hello. So I had some thoughts recently, and I've actually been like garden planning, shopping. If you caught my Instagram stories yesterday, you saw that I had lumber and PVC pipes in the back of the Jeep and a big red flag to drive home from Home Depot. I am in this hyper planning stage. I love to create. So create. I get bored easily. My husband will tell you I never stick anything out. I always finish it, but it never stays around for very long because I get bored and I want to keep creating. So hence the expansion of the garden year after year, the new chickens, the homestead growing, and like more and more growth. And I'm a planner, like I said, as well. So human design is a generator, which means that, yes, I generate ideas, I create, and then I need somebody to help me sustain. All that being said, the homestead and I started planning right January 3rd. I sat down and did like all of this, and it just kind of flowed down. We ordered seeds. We laid out the Little Witch's Moon Garden themes for the whole year. We laid out a marketing calendar for the year around themes. Content for the 2 magazines I write for was laid out. Like all of this planning has went into place, along with like planning out what my garden looks like. And so I want to walk you through, how does that happen? What do I do to kind of look at the moon cycles? What do the moon cycles mean? How do I know I needed to order chickens already? Like all of this stuff is happening. We'll talk through this today on the podcast. So if you are somebody that wants to start gardening, is already gardening, but just like, I don't know what to do next, or you're even like, I am not a person that's good at planning and I need some help, today's episode is for you. I'm going to tell you right now a couple of things you might want to grab as we get ready to dive deep into the episode. Is you might want to grab, if you have a actual planner. Yes, I'm a paper person, and yes, I use these day at a glance still. But if you have any sort of planner, even if it's an online planner or something on your tablet or your phone that you use, you might want to grab that. And then if you have your Greenwich Garden Planner, the Ultimate Greenwich Garden Planner is the one that I created that I use. But if you've got a garden planner, grab that as well. It's going to help you. And if you don't have this and you want to grab one, you can find it in our Etsy shop, which there'll be a link in the show notes, or you can grab it off Amazon, or even just hop over to www.cultivatingguts.com and get the PDF version and fill it out as we go today. It'll help you so much. Okay. With that being said, like I said, we're going to talk all about gardening. Before we jump into the content, I would love to ask you for a favor. Can you guys rate and subscribe to Cultivating Guts podcast on your favorite platform? The ratings help other people find the podcast. The reviews help people know if it's right for them. And if you do that and you send me a screenshot of your review to Tiffany at cultivatingguts.com, I'll send you a free garden planning course. So we have some online courses already built out, and I'll send you a free course just for leaving us a review. Also, if you're listening and you find your favorite part, screenshot that, post it over on Instagram at Cultivating Guts or at I am Tiffany Hinton, and I'll reshare it. Love reposting stuff from people. If you've ever caught any of our stories on Instagram, you'll see I repost things from moon omens to other chicken people to all kinds of stuff. So if you want to shoot us a screenshot, your favorite part of today's podcast, I'll repost that and get you some love as well. I'm so grateful for you and all of our amazing listeners for helping us grow the podcast. We are in season 2, which is amazing, and sharing it with more people. Before we head into the show, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by Non-Disclosure Apparel. They are a US-based, made by a female owner, bralette company. So no underwire, super comfortable. They come in multiple colors. I will say today I'm wearing their pink. They call it azalea. Right after the flowers, and that's so cool. Then there's beach, and there's storm, and there's sand. I think and another color I'm missing, marine maybe. Anyway, they're super wonderful. It is my everyday bra. As many of you know, it's the gardening bra, it's the yoga bra, it's the do the housework bra, it's the go to town bra, and I love, love, love them. The thing that they're known for is their nipple coverage. And Becky, their founder, has given us a special coupon code for you. So you go down to the show notes, you click the link, use Tiffany 15 to save 15% off your total order. And if you order multiples, I believe her website also right now is featuring free shipping on 2 or more bralettes. So the Ellie bralette is got you where you need to be and will get you where you need to go going in 2023. For more information on the Ellie bralette, once again, click the link in the show notes. Okay, guys, we're going to dive right in today. And yes, we are laying out the calendar for the next 6 months, actually probably 7 to be honest, because I'll give you a little bit of January and then we'll do February, March, April, May, and June, and probably some July. That'll get you the very good part of the growing season, getting seeds in the ground, when to think about stuff, and what to do. So if you have the Ultimate Greenwich Garden Planner, or you don't, you can do this. You can do this very easily. Let me find the actual calendar days. So in the middle of the planner, there are monthly planting planner pages. If you're on the video, you can see that. In there, I have garden notes. What is your high-level goal for the month? And then every single week, there's 4 weeks, what are your to-dos? What's your to-do list look like? And then there's a part for the universe to do, because that's always important for me when I feel like I want it to happen, but I don't know how. It needs to happen, but I don't know how. Whenever I don't know the how, I put it on the list for the universe. The universe has never failed me. God, universe, source, whatever that is for you, there is a to-do list for that person. And so the universe, like I said, has never failed me. And I'll give you an example of that today as well. And then there's a gratitude section, because at the end of the month, you need to do a little reflection. What are you grateful for that happened in your garden that month? So again, it's in the planner. Or if you want, the planner has it for 6 months. You can lay it out on a sheet of paper, or you can grab your regular planner, which can help you. Okay. The other thing that is super helpful when I'm laying this out is I look at the moon, new moon, and full moons for every single month. And I actually write them in on the page when I'm writing. And I'll actually give you the full moon and the new moon dates, okay? So that'll be helpful for the Northern Hemisphere. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you're going to have to go look them up. But in the Northern Hemisphere, I'll give you those today. So you can go ahead and write those in your garden plan. If you're like, oh my gosh, I need to do this on a budget, like I said, grab some paper. Or run to your Dollar Tree, get yourself a $1.25 planner. And maybe it's a month at a glance. I like to look at the garden a month at a time. It really helps you look at week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Sometimes we have 5 weeks in the month, but primarily 4 weeks. The other thing that can be very helpful is an actual from Farmer's Almanac, a moon garden perpetual wheel. Okay. I'm going to give you this information already today, so you don't have to have this. But if you're going to start garden planning on your own, this is a very, very handy, helpful tool. Okay. So planner and a pen or pencil or a box of colored pencils or colored pens or highlighters, whatever it is that your creativity needs, we're going to get our garden plan on. Okay. Some of the things to think about as you're doing your garden planning, and I'm going to flip to the front of the Ultimate Greenwich Garden Planner today. Things to think about. These are things we even teach in our Little Witches Moon Garden Club. You need to think about the type of garden you have. Do you have indoor space, outdoor space? Are you looking for herbs? Are you looking for flowers? Are you looking for both? Veggies? Do you want raised beds? Do you want containers? Do you have a small space or a large space? And then what are the magic components? What are those magical herbal medicinal components that you really want to have in your garden? And really put that into thought as well as you're doing this. Consider what you have to work with. Consider your budget. Consider your space. Consider harvest times. Are you going on vacation this summer? Do you have plans to be out of town, so you need to move the planting season one way or the other, or the harvesting one way or the other? That might be important. Right? So things like that you really need to think through, because you're going to lay out a garden plan. And in the garden plan, that's kind of some of the things that you'll want to think about as you look through the weeks. So as we go through this, one of the things I always think about as well when I'm looking at the calendar is not only the new moon and the full moon cycles. When am I not in town? When am I traveling for family, vacation, or work? And I mark those as well, because those weeks that I'm traveling, there's not much really getting done on the homestead. It's the truth of the matter. Okay. The other thing that you'll need to learn along the way, if you don't already know this, I have so much stuff already shoved in my planner, from seed orders to seed arrivals. Okay. To actually graphs of what the garden's going to look like. I am looking for a page with moon information on it for you. And I must have missed it somewhere. Okay, here we go. So, lunar gardening, right? Moon cycle gardening. The first quarter moon is the best time to plant your flowers, your annuals, your above ground crops, and inside seeds. So seed sowing, which I'm going to talk about, right? First quarter moon, very important to do that. And the reason is the new moon is increasing the moisture in the soil. So if the new moon is increasing the moisture in the soil, it's going to help them grow really hardy, deep roots and get you a really good plant. Okay. Second quarter of the moon cycle is the best time to plant above ground crops without seeds. So that's like things that are already rooted, or you're transplanting them, right? So you've grown them inside the house and now you're going to transplant them. You guys make notes, right? Make notes. The light of the moon in this second quarter, which is as the moon is growing into a full moon, is stimulating the leaf growth. The leaf growth of the plants. And so if you're transplanting stuff, it's awesome to do that during the second quarter of the moon. Okay. Third quarter of the moon is the best time to plant your biennials, your perennials, your root crops. So your potatoes and turnips and carrots and things that grow below the ground, right? This is because the moonlight is beginning to wane. So just so you guys understand this, the very beginning before the first quarter is the new moon. Then we go into the first quarter, second quarter. Between the second quarter and the third quarter is the full moon. So after the full moon, the light is beginning to go away. It's waning, it's shrinking. And so it starts to draw the moisture down into the roots again, right? And so it's a good time to be planting root crops. Fourth quarter is the best time for planting overall. There's not a lot of light. The gravitational pull is pulling down, and it's also a great time for garden maintenance. So personally, I like to plant right around the new moon. So either the day of the new moon or immediately following the new moon. I don't love to plant around the full moon myself, okay? But if you wrote those down, you've got your quarters laid out. We're going to go through this. And then you're going to fill in what you want to do this year in your garden, right? Draw yourself a picture. Grab some graph paper, draw yourself a picture. I've got mine laid out already. Make a list of what kind of seeds you want to grow and just make it fun. All right, so starting with January. January, the full moon was January 6th. Okay. The new moon is Saturday, January 21st. That's also the Lunar New Year. And I believe we're moving into the year of the water rabbit. So starting January 21st, January 22nd, awesome time to plant indoor seeds. I'm going to start with herbs. I'm going to start with tomatoes, and we're going to put lettuce in the greenhouse. So I ordered, and it's so funny because I had on the universe to-do list, heat for my greenhouse. The greenhouse, when it's sunny, is 50, 60 degrees. It's beautiful. When it's cloudy and 26 degrees outside, the greenhouse is about 30 degrees. And I'm like, nothing wants to grow in 30-degree weather. Lettuce will. Cold crops will. So heat for the greenhouse was on my universe to-do list. I have 300-watt heat lamps coming. They're going to go over the beds inside. We have heat mats for seeds inside our humidity domes. And so 21st, 22nd, which is coming up this next weekend, great time to do some indoor seed sowing, especially for plants that take 8 to 12 weeks before you can transplant them. So again, look at your seed packages, find the stuff that needs longer. Flowers might be one, certain types of flowers. I have some dahlia, whatever you want to call them, seeds that will eventually turn into tubers. Those are going to get planted as well next week because they need a really long time to grow, and they go into 4-inch pots instead of little seed trays. Anyway, so those are your new moon and your full moon dates, right? So that means that week 3 is pretty much the first quarter of January, right? So we just went through what happens at each of the 4 quarters of the moon. But week 3 of January is the first quarter moon. So week 4, I'm going to plant anything I haven't yet planted before we get to the full moon, which will happen in February. So what you want to be doing right now is organizing your seeds, getting stuff laid out, sorted. I sort my seeds by indoor sowing, direct sow, which will go under outside in March under the low hoop houses, and direct sow after frost. So all of that happens. And then write down 3 goals for January. What are your 3 goals for January for your garden? My personal goals were order seeds, get the seed starting supplies that I might be missing, like I needed some more soil, and set up an egg station because our chickens started laying eggs on January 9th. That was the most amazing thing ever. Now it's like finding Easter eggs or candy every day. It's so fun to go out and check. And then part of my garden planning as well was I decided, besides getting the heat lamps for the inside the greenhouse, I was going to put low hoop houses over the 9 beds in the garden for 2 reasons. One is that I could seed faster and sooner this spring and cover them in frost cloth. Second reason is we can leave the frost cloth on as long as it's below 90 degrees, and the chickens won't eat the seedlings as the seedlings are growing in the garden. And then when they get good and hardy, we can take the frost cloth off. So all of that is happening. I'm using PVC pipe also, and I put in fittings. You'll see that in Instagram later this week in a story. So we can take them in and out. They are, what do I want to call that? Mobile, right? I guess mobile. They're flexible. They're cool. Okay, let's move to February. So February, the full moon is February 5th. So that first week of February is the second quarter because the 5th is on a Sunday. Your new moon in February happens February 19th. So that second week of February, personally, I want to be adding straw to create more biodynamic stuff on my raised beds. I want to put the straw on. And so I probably have to go get some couple bales of straw from the Tractor Supply or Trellis Farms. And then I also want to finish building out the low hoop houses the second week of February. That's my goal. That being my goal, I need to check the weather because if it's like 20 degrees, I'm not going to be out there screwing stuff and building low hoop houses. But we'll see what happens. But my goal is to get those built the second week of February. Third week of February, I want to get the compost ordered that I need so I can put it over the straw and cover those low hoop houses. And I want to plant any additional seeds that only need 4 to 6 weeks inside in seed trays, so they'll be ready to transplant in 4 to 6 weeks outside. So you're going to have indoor seeds that need 8 to 12 and then some that need 4 to 6. So again, that organizing your seeds is important. And then you're going to go into the first quarter moon that last week of February. And so for me, I'm going to be adding the compost in the low hoop houses. The compost is going to start to create heat underneath the frost covers. and it's going to start to melt the ground to get it ready to be planted in March. So that's kind of what's happening for me. Again, 3 goals for February. What are your 3 goals? And what are you going to put on your list for the universe to make happen for you in February? All right, let's look at March. March, the full moon is March 7th, and the new moon is March 21st. So here's the interesting thing, right? We don't normally want to be planting right on the full moon, right? Or directly after the full moon. So you don't want to plant the second or third quarter. So the first week of March is directly after, right? The February full moon or the new moon. February new moon was the 19th. So from the 19th of February through like March 1st and 2nd, great time to plant. So I'm going to try to get some cold seeds in the first 2 days of March in those low hoop houses. So what does that look like? That looks like raspunka. It looks like some kale, some of that super cold hardy stuff, some lettuce, and maybe some other seedlings and radishes grow really like in 3-4 weeks, and they love cold weather, spinach, things like that. So those are going to go in those first 2 days in March. I'm going to actually make a note here. And then the 4th week of March, the new moon's on the 21st. So I can pretty much plant the rest of the hoop houses that last week of March. So we have early produce this year, and we have a longer growing season because we're going to use the frost cloth, and we're going to have the biodynamic built up because we didn't till. We've had the chickens out in the garden all winter, pooping, creating fertilizer. Chicken poop, remember, is high heat, so it has water to break down. We're going to put the straw down. We're going to put compost on top of that, and we're going to cover all that up in a low hoop house, which is going to create heat. It's going to melt the ground. It'll have moisture. And I'm going to seed that last week of March. Last year, I seeded one outdoor low hoop house in March, and it was beautiful. It was great. It had Swiss chard. It had cabbage. It was so great. So that's March. So what are your 3 goals in March? Get those written down. We're also getting baby chicks in March. They're already ordered. We'll pick them up March 10th, 15 more chickens. We'll see what happens there. That'll be fun. Okay, moving to April. April, the full moon is April 5th, and the new moon is April 19th. That new moon in April is also a solar eclipse. So we'll go ahead and write that down. The other interesting thing is that in April this year, we are predicted from the Farmer's Almanac to have our last frost date of April 25th. That's interesting, right? So it's pretty cool. Normally, our last frost date for the Chicagoland area and the Milwaukee area is like the second or third week of May. So to have a predicted last frost date of April 25th, we're definitely going to want the frost cloth. No doubt about it, just in case. But I plan to finish seeding the whole garden that last week of April. So the new moon is the 19th. I want to finish seeding the whole garden the last week of April. I also ordered 100 new strawberry plants, and they're going to arrive that last week of April. So I'll be able to plant those strawberry plants. Now, yes, 100 plants is a little crazy, but we want to be able to sell produce from the homestead going into this season and kind of set up a local miniature farm stand that the girls are going to man. So they're going to need the extra strawberry plants. And the chickens destroyed every strawberry plant that I had before. So unless the strawberries self-seed from last year, that bed is no more strawberries. It's like their favorite place to dig this winter for stuff. It's kind of funny. Okay, second week in April is a great time to spray. If you spray any fungicide or herbicide, or if you create compost teas, you can spray the berries and the trees that second week in February. It's a great time to do that before they bud out, because as soon as we hit that last frost date, they're going to start budding out, and you don't want to be spraying when they're budding. So again, make that note. What are your 3 goals for April? Maybe you're going to rototill. Maybe you're just not going to rototill. I love no-till. Maybe you need to be planting or building raised beds. so that you can plant them, right? So there's all these different things you can be doing. Okay, let's move to May. May normally is like put all the seeds in the ground, get the garden going, go to all the flower stores, buy all the flowers, plant all of that stuff. That is May, right? We have May Day, we have Beltane, we have Mother's Day, we have all these reasons to go to the greenhouse, the garden centers, and just like take it all home. It's a blast. So you're looking at a full moon in May on May 5th, and you're looking at a new moon Friday, May 19th. So if you are going to do all your planting in May, take Friday the 19th off work and plant for like 3 days straight. Get your garden in. If it's big like mine, you might need 3 days. But if you don't, if you only need a day or so, get that done, get the mulch down, revamp, plant some flowers, do whatever you're doing. And then write down 3 goals for May. As I get into May, June, and July, my calendar is, other than the new moon and full moon dates, not actually written out yet because I need to figure out what sprouts from the little seeds that we start and what's happening there. One of these weeks, we're probably going to build a little house for ducks. Cross our fingers. We'll see if we get a little duck house and a swimming pool and we get 2 little ducks. That'll be interesting. Okay, June, your full moon is Saturday, the 3rd of June. So what does that mean? It means you're not planting anything that first weekend in June. And for me, it means we're going to have some stuff to harvest, but there'll be some weeding on purpose. Everything is going to start to reseed and grow. All of the weeds that drop seeds last fall, all of that stuff is going to start to germinate because frost ends in April. It's going to germinate in May. And by June, there will be some weeding to be done. Doesn't matter what you do. Even if you got plastic down, it'll find a way to creep its way up. It just happens. There'll be baby maple trees. There'll be all kinds of stuff. So you can plan that first weekend in June to spend some time doing yard work, do some garden maintenance, fertilize if you need to, clean out chicken coops, move the poop to the compost, clean out, all of that kind of maintenance on your homestead. Plan for that first weekend in June. And then the new moon is Saturday, June 17th. Now, why am I calling this out? That might be a good time to plant the pumpkins if you want your pumpkins not to be ready in September and August, but you actually want good pumpkins in October. You may want to plant pumpkins that Saturday the 17th or Sunday the 18th of June. Now for us, that's when we're taking off for Florida. The garden will be good. I'll have all the weeding done. I can turn it over to a garden tender, a chicken tender, somebody in the neighborhood to help maintain everything while we're gone for a few weeks. But we're going to take off knowing that when we come back in July, everything will be into harvest mode because we started the seeds in January, February. We started the outdoor stuff in March. So we're looking at April, May, June. That's a good 12 weeks. It's a good 60 days. And stuff starts to produce 55, 65, 80 days. So coming back in July, we'll be in full harvest. And we should stay in harvest until it frosts in next November. Okay, I'm going to give you July quickly. The full moon is Monday, July 3rd. What does that mean? It means for the 4th of July holiday, you can do some more weeding, some more maintenance, have a party. Don't be planting anything. And then the new moon is the 17th. It's a Monday of July. And again, unless you're doing late season stuff, which I wouldn't even plant in July, I would plant in August. But you could put in some additional green bean plants. You could plant some bush beans here. I would put in peas more in August though, for a second season of peas. But you could plant bush beans and some other stuff so you have a second harvest, because a lot of people think we have one grow season in Chicagoland, but you can actually get 2 grow seasons by doing some late summer planting. Yes, it's very hot, but there are things that will grow when it's hot. And so you can throw some of those seeds in the ground right on that new moon. And that is your next 6 months in the calendar. Write down 3 goals for July. And then revisit this. Move things to your universe to-do list. Write down your gratitude. Do reflections. And next year, you can go back and look at this plan that you had see what worked, what didn't work, and then lay out next year for 2024 based on your learning, right? It's an evolution. We learn, it's fun, it's messy, it's grounding. To me, it's exciting. It gives me creation. Every year I get to create and create again and create again and create again. And it dies off and it's a muddy mess right now in our garden. If you've seen some of the chicken videos, it's like, oh my God, that's your garden, Tiffany? Yeah, it's a wreck. But it's an intentional wreck. It's on purpose. Everything needs a barren time. Everything needs a time to just rest. And the chickens love it right now out there, like finding grubs and playing in the mulch and just having a blast. And so it's going to be amazing season in 2023. I'm excited for where our homestead's going. We were actually working on homestead logos last night, me and Frankie, a couple of different ones for the farm stand and maybe some marketing material there. And so lots of new stuff to come. And get your garden plan laid out. Take a picture of it when you're done. Tag me on Instagram and show me your garden plan. Show me your calendars. How did you lay them out? Are you going to moon cycle garden with us and do some biodynamic stuff? Remember that if you need the Ultimate Green Witch Garden Planner, you can get it in 3 different places. Amazon, super easy, right? Just throw it in your cart, check out. They'll mail you a printed copy. Our Etsy shop, you can get a digital one or a printed one off our Etsy shop. And then you can get the digital one at cultivatingguts.com. Super easy places to get it. You can put all your stuff in there, put a date on it. I even dated mine this year. That way I know it's this year's, last year's is, still there, and it becomes a garden. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Share with me what your favorite part was. Let me know when you've got your garden plan laid out. Ask me any questions you have. I'm here for you, and I'm excited to see your benefits this year and how your garden grows. Satnam. Love you guys. So if you love this episode, share it with your friends. Send it to anyone who may love the inspiration or need a help laying out a plan for their garden. Lean on my Capricorn skills, lean on my task PM project manager, and follow along, grab your pen, send when you send this to a friend, even say get a piece of paper and a pen and just fill out your calendar as you go. To get our newest book, The Ultimate Green Witch Garden Planner, like I said during the podcast, you can get it online at Amazon. You can also find it in our Etsy store, Lily and the Green Witch. The link to the Etsy store is in the show notes and also on our Instagram page, or you can get it directly on our website at www.cultivatingguts.com. I am excited for our next live event that we have in the making for women. So little bit to come. It's not open for registration yet, but plan to spend Earth Day with me in Chicagoland. We're going to have a whole gardening homestead retreat. We'll have breakfast. We'll have lunch. We'll have some snacks. We will be learning about gardening. We'll build some raised beds together, and you will go home with some seeds planted on Earth Day. It's going to be amazing. So, call your girlfriends, call your neighbors, make it a date already. I think it's April 22nd to be at our Green Witch retreat, and it's going to be a blast. So we're going to do a Green Witch gardening retreat April 22nd. So that'll be our next live event for adults. We have our monthly Little Witches, a moon gardening club for kids. Next date there is February 11th. Registration is now open. And it is so exciting. And I'm so grateful for all of you and the growth that we've had. We are up to 12 monthly garden members. And that means there's room for 8 more because we have to cap this. I can't have too many. I want to be able to teach and to kind of guide and direct them and help them learn everything that they need to know to be able to garden for their life, right? To have that life skill. It is amazing to watch it grow and to see the kids come in and get excited. Just this last week, we hosted the January Garden Club meeting, and they learned about starting seeds, the moisture in the seeds. They filled 36 seed tray holes, and they have a humidity dome from Jung Seed, and they planted 36 seeds, and it was so cool. Yes, it was messy. Yes, one of the kids fell into the dirt and like dumped it. It's all good. It is all good. It was a blast. And I am so excited to see where the garden club goes this year. And we're going to move back outside, definitely in March, maybe even in April. All of the classes are out there. This is the very last month to take and leverage our annual subscription to Garden Club, our annual membership. So with it, it's not really a subscription, it's a membership. With the annual membership, you get all 12, so it goes all the way to January of 24, all 12 Garden Club sessions and club meetings for $350. It's like a $200 savings. It is a $200 savings. You can also register if you want just for the spring bundle, which is 4 months. It's February, March, April, May, and June. And it's going to be fun. We're starting seeds in February. We're building raised beds. The kids are actually going to have their own little miniature raised bed to take home in March. In April, I'm not quite sure, but it's all laid out. It's not coming to my brain at the moment. But you can find all the information and you can sign up your kids at www.cultivatingguts.com and click on Little Witch Moon Gardening Club at the top, or just click right on the front there to sign up for the year. There's a sibling discount if you've got 2 or more children. We can get you a discount there for your siblings, and it's super fun. So those are kind of some of the exciting stuff we have coming up. There are details over at www.cultivatingguts.com, and you'll find everything you need to get started with gardening, from our gardening masterclass to our ultimate Green Witch garden planner to some free courses and even our kids moon gardening club. So everything you need to get going and growing your own food to help with your gut health.